Hello, hello! Pizza Pax here, and we're back with our third commander deck from Duskmourn, House of Horror. This is Green-Black Death Toll. Fill your graveyard, reanimate monsters. Woo! Very spooky. Okay, the face commander is Winter, Cynical Opportunist. Who looks like he belongs in the Cure. Alright, so let's get into this. Alright. I think that's good enough. Alright, we've got our pack of archenemy cards. Got the main deck and insert. 3 lock counters. A theme deck box and collector booster sample pack. These will be opened in their own video. And 8 counters on the front. Alright. You'll notice that they no longer include a life counter. They stopped doing that in Bloomborough for some reason. Yeah. Let's take a look at the insert. Now we'll do the Archenemy cards. Or Archenemy. I flip between the two. So we've got special rules for Archenemy, commander rules. That's, of course. Then a nice profile on Winter, Cynical Opportunist, and a guide on playing the deck. I use guide very loosely. Alright, let's pull in and see what the cards are. All right. Let's see, we have Choose Your Champion scheme. When you set the scheme in motion, target opponent chooses a player. Until your next turn, only you and the chosen player can cast spells and attack with creatures. Alright, that makes sense, I guess. Plots that span centuries. Scheme. When you set the scheme in motion, the next time you would set a scheme in motion, set 3 schemes in motion instead. Whoa, that's pretty cool. My tendrils run deep. Ongoing scheme. An ongoing scheme remains face up until it's abandoned. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. At the beginning of your end step, if you control 6 or more lands, draw 2 cards, then abandon this scheme. Yeah, early ramp. Dark Wings, bring your downfall. Ongoing scheme. Whenever you attack, create a 5/5 black demon creature token with flying that's tapped and attacking. At the beginning of each end step, if 2 or more creatures died under your control this turn, abandon this scheme. That could get really nasty really fast. I am never alone. Scheme. When you set the scheme in motion, create a token that's a copy of your commander, except it's not legendary. Ooh. Rot like the scum you are. Scheme. Whenever you set the scheme in motion, create a 2/2 green ooze creature token, then put a number of +1/+1 counters on it, equal to the number of lands your opponents control. That could be a really strong late game one. You live only because I will it. Scheme. When you set this scheme in motion, you may redistribute any number of life totals. Each affected player or team gets one of those life totals back. Huh. Do not fear death. Fear me. Good flavor text on that. My will is irresistible. Scheme. When you set this scheme in motion, choose up to 3 non-land permanents you don't control. Target opponent chooses one of those permanents, you gain control of the rest. Ooh. Wow, that could be really strong. My wings enfold all. Scheme. When you set the scheme in motion, choose one. Draw 2 cards. Until end of turn, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy. Huh. That second mode could be really strong. Your mistake is my triumph. Scheme. When you set this scheme in motion, each player mills 3 cards. Then you put a permanent card from among the milled cards onto the battlefield under your control. Nice. Alright. Some great schemes in that. So let's take a look at the star of the show. The deck. And of course. No. There we go. Looks like they removed the little pull tab to make things easier. Or that makes things easier. Removing it didn't make anything easier. Alright, let's get into the deck itself. We have Winter, Cynical Opportunist. 2 green-red, or 2 black-green. Apparently I can't recognize colors today. For a 2/5 Legendary Human Warlock with Death Touch. Whenever Winter attacks, mill 3 cards. Delirium. At the beginning of your end step, you may exile any number of cards from your graveyard with 4 or more card types among them. If you do, put a permanent card from among them onto the battlefield with a finality counter on it? That's an odd one. I'm not sure if that's that seems extremely powerful, but also very difficult to set up. Rendmaw, Creaking Nest. 3 black-green for a 5/5 legendary artifact creature Scarecrow. Haven't seen a Scarecrow in a while. With Menace and Reach. Whenever it enters and whenever you play a card with 2 or more card types, each player creates a tap 2/2 Blackbird creature token with flying. The tokens are goaded for the rest of the game. They attack each combat if able and attack a player other than you if able. Ooh, that's cool. I like that one. Vile Mutilator. 5 black for 6/5 demon. As an additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice a creature or enchantment. Flying, trample. When Vile Mutilator enters, each opponent sacrifices a non-token enchantment, then sacrifices a non-token creature. This is from the main set, and it was really powerful and sealed. Excuse me. I could see this becoming a reanimation target very easily. Terramorphic Expanse. Tap and sacrifice it to search for basic, put into play tap, shuffle. Night's Whisper. Ooh, new art. Cool new art, too. Unfortunately, not in the main set. I would love if this had been in the main set. But 1 in a black sorcery, you draw 2 cards and lose 2 life. Grapple with the Past. Also should have been in the main set. You know, I feel like I say this a million times with every deck. The cards that they keep putting in the commander decks should be in the main standard sets instead. Like, they are burning through so much design space and so much reprint equity by doing this. And they've been doing it for like 5 years now. It's not good. It's not good for the long-term health of the game. Players are getting burnt out and have been burnt out for a while. But grapple with the past. 1 and a green, instant. Mill 3 cards. Then you may return a creature or land card from your graveyard to your hand. Deathreap Ritual. 2 black-green, enchantment. Morbid. At the beginning of each end step, if a creature died this turn, you may draw a card. It's pretty cool. Putrefy. 1 black-green, instant. Destroy target artifact or creature. It can't be regenerated. It's a good one. Good old Ravnica City of Guilds. Arcane Signet. 2-mana artifact that taps for your commander's color identity. Soul Ring. We all know what it does by now. 1-mana artifact that taps for 2. Suspicious Bookcase. 2-mana 0/4 artifact creature wall with Defender. 3 tap. Target creature can't be blocked this turn. That is some cool art. Reminds me of Oogie Boogie from Nightmare Before Christmas. Man Tower. A land that taps for your commander's color identity. Know what it is by now. Carrion Grub. 3 and a black for 0/5 insect. It gets +X/+O, where X is the greatest power among creatures in your graveyard. Whenever it enters, mill 4 cards. That can be very strong. Stitcher's Supplier. Another reprint. Really cool art. For a black, you get a 1/1 zombie that when it enters or dies, mill 3 cards. No part goes to waste. Ugh. Crawling Sensation. Enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, mill 2 cards. Whenever 1 or more land cards are put into the graveyard from anywhere for the first time each turn, create a 1/1 green insect creature token. Keep in mind, that includes fetching, land destruction, all kinds of stuff. Gnarlwood Dryad. This was a fun card when it was in standard. For a green, you get a 1/1 Dryad Horror with Death Touch and Delirium. It's +2/+2 as long as there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard. It can be very strong. Less strong in Commander, but in 20 life formats, it was pretty serious. Harmonize. 2 green, sorcery, draw 3 cards. Just good rate. Harrow. 2 and a green, instant. As an additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice a land. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, put them onto the battlefield, then shuffle. Keep in mind that it's not tapped. Let's just put them onto the battlefield. Moldgraph Millipede. 4 and a green for 2/2 insect horror. When it enters, mill 3 cards. Then put a +1/+1 counter on Moldgraph Millipede for each creature card in your graveyard. That can be very big very quickly. Mulch. So good it's played in Legacy. 1 and a green, sorcery, reveal the top 4 cards of your library, put all land revealed this way into your hand, put the rest in your graveyard. Obsessive Skinner. 1 and a green for a 1/1 human rogue. When it enters, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Delirium. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, if there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. So once you get this fired off, it can just keep giving you value. Rampant Growth. 1 and a green, sorcery. Search for your library for a basic land, put another play into play tapped, then shuffle. It's the classic ramp card. It's where we get the term ramp from. Sakura Tribe Elder. It's Rampant Growth, but a creature. 1 and a green for a 1/1 Snake Shaman. Sacrifice it. Search your library for a basic land. Put that card on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Also called Steve. Is S-T-E. Steve. Skola Grove Dancer. 1 and a green. There's a lot of cards for 1 and a green in this deck. For a 2/2 enchantment creature, Satyr Dryad. Whenever a land card is put into your graveyard from anywhere, gain 1 life. 2 and a black, or 2 and a green, mill a card. Binding the Old Gods. It's a 3-chapter saga for 2 black-green. Chapter 1, destroy target non-land permanent an opponent controls. Chapter 2, search your library for a forest card. Put it on the battlefield tap, then shuffle. Keep in mind, you can get duels with that. Chapter 3, creatures you control gain death touch until end of turn. Nice. Grizzly Salvage. Black-green instant. Reveal the top 5 cards of your library. You may put a creature or land card from among them into your hand, put the rest into your graveyard. Played in Pioneer Reanimator, Atlanta. Nyx Weaver. 1 black-green for 2/3 enchantment creature spider with reach. At the beginning of your upkeep, mill 2 cards. 1 black-green, exile Nyx Weaver. Return target card from your graveyard to your hand. Burnished Heart. 3 mana, 2/2 artifact creature elk. 3 and sacrifice it. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, put them on the battlefield tap, then shuffle. Used to be a staple card in Commander, now gets pretty outclassed, but still not bad. Commander Sphere, 3 mana artifact that taps for your commander's color identity, and you can sacrifice it to draw a card. Golgari Signet, it's the green-black Signet. 2 mana artifact that filters 1 into green-black. Deluge of Doom. 2 and a black, sorcery. All creatures get -X/-X until end of turn, where X is the number of card types among cards in your graveyard. Huh, that's the thing. Demonic Covenant. 4 black, Kindred Enchantment Demon. It says counts as a demon. Whenever 1 or more demons you control attack a player, you draw a card and lose 1 life. At the beginning of your end step, create a 5/5 black demon creature token with flying, then mill 2 cards. If 2 cards that share all their card types were milled this way, sacrifice Demonic Covenant. Huh. That's interesting. Again, should have been in the main set. Would have been very on theme. Into the Pit. 2 and a black, enchantment. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may cast spells from the top of your library by sacrificing a non-land permanent in addition to paying their other costs. Oh, that is very strong. Black did not need a future sight. Polluted Cistern and Dim Obulette. Both enchantment rooms. Polluted Cistern, 1 and a black. Whenever 1 or more cards are put into your graveyard from your library, each opponent loses 1 life for each card type among those cards. Okay. Dim Oubliette, 4 and a black. When you unlock this door, mill 3 cards, then return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Again, could have been in the main set. Demolisher Spawn. 5 green for 7/7 enchantment creature horror. Trample and Haste and Delirium. Whenever it attacks, if there are 4 more card types among cards in your graveyard, other attacking creatures get +4/+4 until end of turn. Okay, it's almost a Craterhoof. Not quite, but almost. Formless Genesis. 2 and a green, Kindred Sorcery Shapeshifter. So it's Changeling, so this has every creature type. That seems like a great idea. Create an XX colorless Shapeshifter creature token with Changeling and Death Touch, where X is the number of land cards in your graveyard. Retrace. Oh my... Oh, why? Oh... That is so broken. That is so broken. They're gonna have to design around this for the rest of the game. At least when it comes to Commander. That is, this combos with just about anything that cares about creature types. Ursine Monstrosity. 2 and a green for a 3/3 Bear Mutant. Trample at the beginning of combat on your turn. Mill a card and choose an opponent at random. Ursine Monstrosity attacks that player this combat if able until end of turn. It gains indestructible and gets +1/+1 for each card type among cards in your graveyard. Oh, that's kind of neat. Convert to slime. Oh, that's silly. 3 black-green sorcery. Destroy up to 1 target artifact, up to 1 target creature, and up to 1 target enchantment. Delirium. If there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard, create an XX green ooze creature token, where X is the total mana value of permanents destroyed this way. Holy crap, that could be huge. That could be absolutely humongous. Moldgraph Monstrosity. 4 green for an 8/8 insect with trample. When it dies, exile it, then return 2 creature cards at random from your graveyard to the battlefield. So here's a cool fact. You only have 2 creatures. You know exactly what's getting returned. Hey. Culling Ritual. 2 black-green. Sorcery. Destroy each non-land permanent with mana value 2 or less. Add black or green for each permanent destroyed this way. Cemetery Tampering. This was just from Streets of New Capenna. 2 and a black. Enchantment. Hideaway 5. When this enters, look at the top 5 cards of your library, exile 1 face down, then put the rest on the bottom in a random order. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may mill 3 cards. Then if there are 20 or more cards in your graveyard, you may play the exiled card without paying its mana cost. It can be very strong and pretty easy to pull off. Noxious Gearhulk. 4 black for 5/4 artifact creature construct with Menace. When it enters, you may destroy another target creature. If a creature is destroyed this way, you gain life equal to its toughness. That's right, you gain the life, not its controller. This card was nuts when it was in Standard. It's still kind of nuts. Pretty sure that can kill an Emrakul. That doesn't really matter in Commander. Obnixilis Reignited. 3 black for a 5 loyalty legendary planeswalker Nixilis? Thought it was supposed to be Obnixilis. Interesting. +1, you draw a card and lose a life. -3, destroy target creature. -8, target opponent gets an emblem with whenever a player draws a card, you lose 2 life. Oh, so whenever any player draws a card, the person with the emblem loses 2 life. Gotcha. Cool. Professor Onyx. I recently just noticed that this is actually Liliana. But 4 black for a 5 loyalty legendary planeswalker Liliana, which was like, what? With Magecraft, whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Keep in mind, this goes infinite with Chain of Smog. You can target yourself with Chain of Smog and just kill everyone at the table. Because that's cool. +1, you lose 1 life. Look at the top 3 cards of your library, put one of them in your hand and the rest into your graveyard. It even helps you find it. -3, each opponent sacrifices a creature with the greatest power among creatures that player controls. -8, each opponent may discard a card. If they don't, they lose 3 life. Repeat this process 6 more times. Yep. Yeah. There's also a card from Bloomborough. It's something's talent. Don't remember which one it is. It's the green one, but the third level of it can double tokens, so you can ultimate immediately. Granted, you can also do that with any number of other things. Ooh, reanimate. That's cool. I got another reprint. But for a black, it's a sorcery. Put target creature card from your graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Lose life equal to its mana value. Literally one of the best reanimate spells ever printed. I think it's either the best or the second best. There's arguments for Animate Dead being slightly better. But still an all-time classic. There's a reason this thing was up to $35 before it got reprint 2 years ago. Still very solid. Played in Legacy. It's the core part of Reanimator. Very good card. Whip of Erebos. 2 black legendary enchantment artifact. Creatures you control have lifelink. 2 black tap. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste. Exile it at the beginning of the next end step. If it would leave the battlefield, exile it instead of putting it anywhere else. Activate only as a sorcery. That's a good one. Arachnogenesis. 2 and a green instant. Create X 1/2 green spider creature tokens with reach, where X is the number of creatures attacking you. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn by non-spider creatures. Again, could have been in the main set. Would have been really cool and flavorful in the main set. Deathcap Cultivator. 1 and a green for a 2/1 human druid. Taps for a green or a black. And then Delirium. When it has Death Touch as long as there are 4 more four more card types among cards in your graveyard. Hopefully I've been saying card types, not creature types this whole time. I'm not going to go back and check, but I hope I haven't been saying creature types. Giant Ataphage. 5 green for a 7/7 insect with trample. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, create a token that's a copy of Giant Ataphage. It grows. It grows exponentially. It's great. Hornet Queen. 4 green for a 2/2 insect with flying and death touch. When it enters, create 4 1/1 green insect creature tokens with flying and death touch. I know that seems a little silly, but 5 creatures with a combined 6 power with flying and death touch? A lot more effective than you'd think they'd be. Pumps real well, too. Inscription of Abundance. 1 and a green, instant. Kicker, 2 and a green. Choose 1. If the spell was kicked, choose any number instead. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature. Target player gains X life, where X is the greatest power among creatures they control. Target creature you control fights target creature you don't. Very nice. And it's an instant, which is always nice. Instant speed fight spells are fun. Ishkana, Graph Widow. 4 and a green for a 3/5 legendary creature spider with reach. And Delirium. When it enters, if there are 4 more card types among cards in your graveyard, create 3 1/2 green spider creature tokens with reach. And then 6 and a black. Target opponent loses 1 life for each spider you control. This can also be your commander because of the way color identities work. But when this was in standard, it was one of my favorite cards. It was so much fun to just gum up the board and then slowly drain out your opponent for 7 mana over and over again. It was great. Scavenging Ooze. 1 and a green for a 2/2 creature ooze. For green, exile target card from a graveyard. If it was a creature card, put a +1/+1 counter on Scavenging Ooze, and you gain 1 life. Clean, simple, just all around a fantastic card. Great way to deal with graveyard stuff. Titania, Nature's Force. 4 green for 6/6 legendary creature elemental. You may play forests from your graveyard. Interesting. So that should also let you play duels. Whenever a force you control enters, create a 5/3 green elemental creature token. Nice. Whenever an elemental you control dies, you may mill 3 cards. Nice. Ren and 7. This just rotated out of standard. But 3 green for 5 loyalty legendary planeswalker Ren. +1, reveal the top 4 cards of your library, put all land cards revealed this way into your hand, and the rest into your graveyard. 0, put any number of land cards from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. -3, create a green treefolk creature token with reach, and this creature's power and toughness are each equal to the number of lands you control. Then -8, return all permanent cards from your graveyard to your hand. You get an emblem with you have no maximum hand size. This is one of the few green things that gives you an unlimited hand size. Deadbridge Chant. For black-green, for an enchantment. When it enters, mill 10 cards. At the beginning of your upkeep, choose a card at random in your graveyard. If it's a creature card, put it onto the battlefield. Otherwise, put it into your hand. If you have a way of manipulating your graveyard, I don't know, like a scavenging ooze, you can pick what happens, effectively. Grimflare, black-green for a 2/2 human warrior with trample. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, surveil 3. Delirium, it gets +2/+2 as long as you have 4 more card types among cards in your graveyard. This was a very, very, very good card in Standard. It was a very good card in Modern for a long time. Grist, the Hunger Tide. Ooh, that's cool. I was going to buy a playset of these, but now I don't have to. Hooray! Granted, this ship has probably sailed on Grist at this point. It has been outclassed by newer stuff. Grist, the Hunger Tide. 1 black-green for a 3 loyalty legendary planeswalker Grist. As long as Grist, the Hunger Tide isn't on the battlefield, it is a 1/1 insect creature token in addition to its other types. +1, create a 1/1 black and green insect creature token, then mill a card. If an insect card was milled this way, put a loyalty counter on Grist and repeat this process. -2, you may sacrifice a creature. When you do, destroy target creature or planeswalker. -5, each opponent loses life equal to the number of creature cards in your graveyard. Old Stick Fingers. Is that a reference to Salad Fingers? Oh, no. X, black-green for an XX legendary creature horror. Whenever you cast a spell, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal X creature cards. Put all creature cards revealed this way into your graveyard. Then put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Old Stick Fingers' power and toughness are each equal to the number of creature cards in your graveyard. So there's actually a really funny thing with Old Stick Fingers, which is you could use it to put very specific creatures in your graveyard if you only had Old Stick Fingers and very specific creatures. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying that it's a good idea. I'm saying it is something you can do. I have seen more than one person have Old Stick Fingers be their commander, have a deck with only 1 creature in it. I'm not going to say what the creature was. Play Old Stick Fingers for 3 mana to get that very specific creature in their graveyard, and then reanimate it. Again, I am not saying it's good. I am saying it is something that you can and some people have done. Solemn Simulacrum. 4 mana 2/2 artifact creature Golem. When it enters, you may search your library for a basic land card, put that card on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Whenever it dies, you may draw a card. Dryad Arbor. Ooh, it's nice that I actually put this in a precon again. So Dryad Arbor has a lot of controversy around it, and whether you place it with your creatures or your lands. The official ruling is you place it with your creatures. Replacing it with lands is hiding board state. And that is an official ruling. But Dryad Arbor is a land creature, Forest Dryad. It isn't a spell, it's affected by Summoning Sickness, and it has tap, add, green. And it is a 1/1. This also works really well with Titania. Exotic Orchard. It's a land that taps for 1 mana that it taps for 1 mana of any color that your opponent's lands could produce. Grim Backwoods. Taps for a colorless, and 2 black-green, tap, sacrifice a creature, draw a card. Llanowar Waste, it's the black-green pain land. Taps for a colorless, and then taps for a black or a green, and it deals 1 damage to you. Also, it's got a cool fairy on it. Necroblossom Snarl. When it enters, you may reveal a swamp or forest from your hand. If you don't, it enters tapped, taps for black or green. Temple of Malady. It's the black-green temple, enters tapped. When it enters, you scry 1, taps for black or green. Twilight Mire, it's black-green filter land. Taps for a colorless, and then filters a black or a green into black-black, black-green, or green-green. Iridescent Bog filters a colorless, or filters one of a mana of any kind into black-green. Woodland Cemetery enters tapped unless you control a swamp or forest. Taps for black or green. Haywire Mite. Oh, there's some really good stuff in this one. 1 mana, 1/1 artifact creature insect. When it dies, you gain 2 life. And then for a green and sacrifice it, exile target non-creature artifact or non-creature enchantment. Fun thing, this gets rid of Urza Saga. A lot of people forget about that. Also, you can get it with Urza Saga. Mind Stone, 2 mana artifact that taps for 1, and then 1 tap and sacrifice it, draw a card. Talisman of Resilience, 2 mana artifact, taps for a colorless, and then taps for a black or a green, and it deals 1 damage to you. Basically, a pain land as an artifact. It's the black-green talisman. Whisper Silk Cloak, 3 mana artifact equipment. Equip creature can't be blocked and has Shroud. Equip 2. Good to get another reprint. It crept up to about $4 recently. Ash Barrens, taps for colorless, and then basic land cycling 1. Pick 1 and discard it. To search your library for basic, reveal it and put it into your hand, then shuffle. Baron Moor, enters tapped, taps for a black, cycles for a black. Nice and clean. Majuka Bog, one of the best utility lands ever created. It's a land that enters tapped. When it enters, you exile target player's graveyard. Taps for black. Rossmore Bridge. It's the artifact land. Enters tapped. It's indestructible. And taps for a black or a green. It is a Pauper All-Star. Evolving Wilds. Same as Terramorphic Expanse. Tap and sacrifice. Search your library for a basic. Put into play tapped. Then shuffle. Golgari Rot Farm. It's black-green Karu. Enters tapped. When it enters, you return a land you control to its owner's hand. And then it taps for a black and a green. It taps for 2 mana. Really good for returning Majuka Bog. Jungle Hollow. Enters tapped. When it enters, you gain a life. Taps for a black or a green. Reliquary Tower. You have no maximum hand size. Taps for a colorless. Tainted Wood. Good in pre-modern, actually. Taps for a colorless, and then taps for a black or a green, but only if you control a swamp. Temple of the False Gods. Taps for 2 colorless. Activate only if you control 5 or more lands. Tranquil Thicket, just like Baron Moor, cycles. It enters tapped, taps for green, cycles for green. Tree of Tales. It's the green artifact land. Taps for a green. It's an artifact and a land. Vault of Whispers. Same thing, but taps for black. Now we have our basics. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 swamps. Oh, it's so you hit Delirium faster. That makes sense. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 forests, both with 2 different arts. Then we have our tokens. We have 2 insects that are 1/1s. In the back, you have a shapeshifter that looks really cool. Changeling and Death Touch, and then an Ooze. It's just an XX. Then we have an insect for your Hornet Queen. It's a 1/1 flying Death Touch. The spider on the back. It's 1/2 reach. It's a Spooter. We have a Tree Folk. It's an XX with reach, equal to the number of power and toughness equal to the number of lands you have. Back is a spider. Another 1/1 insect. Whoop. Back is another shapeshifter. Still a very cool shapeshifter. 2/2 Ooze. That is a Hornet Queen token. Elemental, 5/3, 5/3 elementals for Titania. And there are 2/2 birds on the back. I don't remember what made birds. We've got a 5/5 flying demon. Got 2 of them apparently, with a 2/2 bird and a 2/2 bird. I don't remember what made the birds. Oh, it's the thing that made birds with goad. That's what it was. That's right. The other commander. That guy. Rendmaw. Freaking Nest. And then a turn order reminder with popular formats on the back. Alright, well thank you for joining me on this adventure. As always, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff for the algorithm. And again, this was... let's forget the name of the decks. This was Death Toll in black-green. So yeah, until next time, stay awesome. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.